Hello SB Me and my ADHD. I have been meaning to do a video for a while about the different types of ADHD. So finally stopped procrastinating and here we are. In no particular order, I'm going to go through the three main types that we struggle with, and the attention span can probably go off, so by the time that I get around to explaining ADHD, those guys have probably already gone and are looking at a different video somewhere else. So let's start with inattentive type. So that's ADD, attention deficit disorder. So the people that struggle with that one will mostly miss details and get distracted fairly easily. They might become bored very quickly. And on the flip side of that, they might become hyper-focused and obsessed quite a lot. They can get confused and daydream fairly often. So you can speak to someone with ADD and it might seem like they're not even listening, and they probably aren't. So you might have to give them a little tap or say a word to prompt them, like money. That generally gets my attention. Other things they might have problems with are forgetting appointments or arranged plans. It just skips their mind. And they will also generally have difficulty following instructions or processing new information. So when learning new things, it can take a few times of explaining it a few different ways. So moving on to the second type is the hyperactive type, ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Definitely wouldn't be able to say that if I was drunk. So when people mention an attention deficit disorder of some kind, the majority of people will tend to think of this type, which is when they can't sit still. They tend to squirm and fidget in their seats, or they have to get up and walk around and are quite restless. They talk constantly. Yeah, have trouble engaging in activities that they're not interested in, which is generally something that I struggle with quite a lot. If I'm not interested in doing it, I procrastinate until the very last minute and then I get on with it. Now, I'll get on to explaining a little bit about why us ADHDers do that. So another thing that we might do is be very impatient and maybe act out of turn and not think of the consequences, as well as blurt out answers and maybe make brash comments without thinking of the consequence of what we've just said and how people might take it is something that we do. Now the third type is a combination of the two. So to run through that very quickly, three types of ADHD: inattentive type, hyperactive type, combined. Those are the three. Now, the reason for this is because our brains do not produce the correct amount of chemicals and hormones that they should. So when people use medication for this condition, it is in order to help their brains kickstart the neurotransmitters that we need in order to be able to do simple tasks. For example, just organising yourself in the morning, getting ready for the day, you need to be able to get your brain to tell itself to do several things before you're ready to leave. If you don't have your medication, those messages don't get passed properly. So with medication, it enhances our dopamine levels, and when we have dopamine, we are able to pass those messages a lot better. If I want to get specific, it's about 12 messages per 1,000th of a second. So that is quite a lot of messages when we are medicated for our condition. Now, if we're not medicated, then we might try and find ways to boost our dopamine levels ourselves if our brain isn't producing them. But if we're not diagnosed, we probably don't know that it's dopamine that we're lacking, so we do it subconsciously. For example, some people use eating as a way to raise levels of dopamine. So they can binge eat or excessively eat. And others can abuse substances. Some substances are known to raise your dopamine levels. That includes alcohol. And we also seek out relationships and friendships and things in order to help boost our dopamine levels. Anything that brings us happiness or joy, dopamine is the hormone that is released, that it allows us to feel those happy, joyful emotions, as well as function on our daily tasks. So in order to increase those levels, we turn to things that aren't necessarily that healthy for us. So those of us that are undiagnosed and do not medicate are more likely to self-medicate. So when people ask, I don't know if I should be taking medication or if I should allow my child to be taking medication, of course that is an individual choice and entirely up to you. But what I will say is have a look into the research and proof and evidence of how these chemicals work. Do it yourself, because I'm not going to sit here and tell you what you should or shouldn't do with your lives. But the symptoms that you might struggle with if you're not diagnosed with, well, even if you are diagnosed, I still struggle with a lot of these. But we have chronic lateness and forgetfulness. I am probably not the best person with punctuality. So I can definitely relate to this. And if I don't have my tablets, I forget like where my socks are, even if they're on my feet. Anxiety is another one that people struggle with, and low self-esteem. You might notice problems at work or school, depending on where it is that you're at in life. And trouble controlling your anger. Now, that's another video that I would like to go further into this, but anger is always a secondary emotion. Never is it someone's first response. There is always something that has lit the flames of anger. So if someone's having an angry outburst, maybe think, what has possibly caused this? Especially if you know that they've got ADHD. They don't just fly off the handle for no reason, they just do it a lot quicker. They tend to be quite impulsive, moving on, and unorganised. Yeah, organisation's not my greatest quality. Procrastination, on the other hand, yeah, if there was an Olympic medal for that, I'd be going for gold. And easily frustrated. That, I think, falls under trouble controlling anger as well, because when you get very easily frustrated with yourself, then you can get angry with yourself, and volcano eruptions. Chronic boredom. So yeah, we can find something that we like 1 minute, and then the next minute we're bored of it already, even though a minute ago we were saying it was the next best thing since sliced bread. So we also have trouble concentrating. You probably already noticed that with me a little bit. I do tend to wander off on little tangents sometimes and have to remind myself that I'm doing a video and need to explain things. Mood swings. Yeah, anyone that knows someone with ADHD will probably know that they can go from being quite angry to very happy very quickly. And the other way round as well, unfortunately. Another symptom is depression. I don't really want to go into that one too much. It needs to be talked about, but yeah, that's a whole other video, that one is. And relationship and friendship problems. So when we add in all of these other factors, squish them together, we do tend to struggle a little bit with relationships and understanding how other people might see things and do things. Which then adds into the easily frustrated, and then, anyway, lots of round circles we go. So those are the different symptoms, 3 different types: ADD, inattentive, ADHD, hyperactive, combined, exactly what it says on the tin. Now, the reason why I've been a little bit aloof for the last 36 hours or something is because I've been designing and printing. Well, I didn't design this actual model. I just put my name on it, which was hard enough. I'm not really that techie, but so yeah, this is a homemade 3D printed fidget coaster, and I thought what would be a really good idea was if I did a giveaway with a mug and a fidget coaster, and so I will sort a post out that you guys can share, and the more awareness that we can raise about ADHD and other neurological conditions, the better. If you're still here and you're still watching, thanks very much. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.